pedaling their little bikes for tourists and whatever they're doing, just try to make a living, and then they have to fast on top of that. I can't imagine. I literally cannot imagine. Hello peeps, welcome back to my channel. My name is Drew, and today we are going out and about into Malacca, Malaysia to explore a little bit of the traditional architecture. It's really just like one big walk around the city. I've discovered all throughout this vlog that the architecture of Malacca is just so unique and special to this city, and it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which I find out in this vlog, funnily enough, because they have maintained that status. There are parts of it that are coordinated and kept up, but then you have just the normal city where you can tell they haven't like expanded roads and destroyed housing, but it is their traditional housing, which is so special and unique to see. In this vlog, you will see all the small little roads, you'll see the shutters on the houses, the Asian roof tiles, which I think looks very much like Mexican architecture, but it kind of has that unique Asian flair, and I'm not for sure what distinguishes the two, but they're both like those same tiles almost, so that's interesting to me. But then in the midst of these just like normal houses in the city, you have these mansions spread amongst them. It's just such a beautiful city to walk around. You have the river, you have all the painted buildings with the graffiti art. It's beautiful, guys. Honestly, I have discovered that I prefer Malacca over Kuala Lumpur. Like, there's cool things to do in Kuala Lumpur, there's cool things to see, but it's just like a normal city, whereas Malacca has character and history that was influenced, like you can tell that it was influenced throughout history by different cultures, making its impact on the city. For example, the mosque here, there are lots of different mosques, and they have an Asian architecture to an Arab Muslim building. So it's like a combo of those architectures and cultures, which I've never seen anyplace else. I haven't seen that in Kuala Lumpur, which there may be some in Kuala Lumpur, but Malacca is just very unique in that aspect. In this vlog, we started out at the Megamall, and funnily enough, whenever we first saw the Megamall, we were on the side of the mall with the family store on it, and if you know Malacca at all, you know that is not actually the Megamall, but we were meandering around, and then we went to the deserted side of the Megamall, which is actually where I found my glasses, on the deserted side of the Megamall. And I put out a video about my experience with glasses and doctor things last, so you should go check that out whenever you get done with this one. The eye doctor actually told us how to get to the Megamall from the deserted side, and so you'll see that in the footage. You'll see us going through, like, it's a little corridor, not a little corridor, a very long corridor, which I assume is what is under the street to get to the other side of the Megamall. We're gonna start at the Megamall, go through the corridor, see a little bit of Megamall, not much because it's just a mall, and then we'll step out on the other side. So I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers so that I can buy a new camera to film for y'all, because I would love to give y'all better film footage. If you would like to help out with that, please subscribe down below, give this video a like, and let's get this party started. Oh, that's not working, but we need one of those. Sad coffee. When you exit the Megamall, you will encounter a garden area. It is the end of monsoon season here in Malaysia, and so the garden area was very beautiful and pretty. This garden area has all the green trees and light fixtures, and it leads you to this stone. And honestly, I'm still a bit confused by this stone. Even after I read the description, still confused. I think it was put there by the Portuguese, and it used to have a cross on it. Now it does not. I guess it was rebuilt, and I don't know what happened to the original stone. Did it go away? I'm not for sure. Then they also said that the stone was in the sea. So I'm like, was the stone just floating in the sea? Because they also said that it couldn't sink, and then the British moved it inland. So confused by this stone, but it is a main feature of the park. If you know what this story is all about, please comment down below, because the description on the thing was very confusing to me, but I kind of got the gist maybe. We meandered over to the center of town, where you see probably the most historic, I don't know if it's the most historic, but it's probably the most iconic buildings of Malacca, because they are all painted the same color. They all have the same like architecture. You have the churches there. In fact, you actually heard the church bells, and I'm going to keep them in this footage because it is such a rare thing in Malaysia to hear church bells. All I've heard thus far is call to prayers from the mosque. It's a very unique thing to Malacca to have so many churches around the city. I know in other parts of Malaysia there are predominantly Christian areas, so I'm sure this occurs in other areas of Malaysia. However, I have not encountered it thus far. Also in the center of town, because we were there during Ramadan, they were passing out meals to the tuk-tuk drivers, who I'm assuming were Muslim and fasting all day. If you don't know anything about Ramadan, Muslims fast during this time period from sunrise to sunset. And so these tuk-tuk drivers, guys, I can't even imagine. They are driving in this heat all day long, pedaling their little bikes for tourists and whatever they're doing, just try to make a living. And then they have to fast on top of that. I can't imagine. I literally cannot imagine. We've actually been walking this area for quite a bit these days because Jonker Night Market is right over here, but we haven't gone down these streets, and these are like the traditional Malaysian streets, and they're all like coordinated, the same color, and just look really cool and traditional, which is why this makes Malacca the tourist town probably of Malaysia, which is really cool. There's this church back here. I'm so excited to go see that. Look at that. Let's go do that. Also, I'm standing in the middle of the street. So, and Yen just informed me this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So, the whole city, I guess. So that's pretty cool. just going in them. So I know that most Malaysians will not understand my fascination with filming fruit trees. But if you have been to America or know anything about the United States, it is actually very rare to have fruit trees out and about in the city like that. Sometimes people will have apple and peach trees in their backyard, but to actually see tropical fruit like mangoes, jackfruit, pomelos, jambu, to see that out just everywhere growing is absolutely crazy to me. And I love it because I can't even imagine getting to live in a world where fruit grew so readily. Also, whenever the boats come by on the river, it's one of my favorite things to do, to wave at the people inside the boat and see if they will wave back, because I think I have fun and they actually have fun too. So it's a fun time for everybody. Walking along the river, you see all the different artwork of the buildings all the way across. All the different buildings are painted a different color, which is so beautiful. It makes for an interesting eye experience. You're not bored, but you're constantly seeing something new and interesting along the way. Then we go into the back streets, and I actually kept a lot of this footage in, specifically of the cars whenever they're coming through the streets, because it gives you a perspective on how small these streets were with no sidewalks. It also gives a new perspective of Malacca in general. They haven't destroyed the buildings to make room for bigger streets, wider streets with the cars, and how they are maintaining that UNESCO heritage site, despite nowadays it being an inconvenience to a lot of people in the city. Because we have cities like this, we get to see what the past looks like, and that's really important. Thing about this place coming up was that I actually thought it was a temple, so we were being like super respectful and quiet, and it probably is still a temple, which I probably still should be respectful and quiet and However, whenever we walked behind the wall, it was like an automatic shock because I realized it was just a restaurant back there, and so people were eating, and I was just like thoroughly confused about the entire situation. Then another day, we actually walked to this restaurant from Jonker Street through this back alley. Unexpectedly, we ended up back at the same restaurant. It was absolutely hilarious because I was not expecting it whatsoever. So subscribe down below for that. editing this footage, there is just a lot of footage. Malacca is a big city. It has lots of things to look at and see, and so therefore I decided we're gonna do a part 2 of this video to explore the rest of what we did that day. In the next video, that's where we will see really the Asian roof tiles, the shutter architecture, the mansions in between all that older architecture. The good stuff is actually, not that this other stuff wasn't good, this other stuff is very charming and more natural to what people would do just in life in general. They're not keeping up the painting, and they're not making sure the buildings look tip-top shape. But coming up in the next vlog, you have some of the older natural stuff. I don't know how else to describe it. But then you have some really cool painted shutters and really cool painted buildings, and then you have the mansions come along. And then I also will give you a taste test of 2 different things we bought on Jonker Street that night. So you should subscribe down below for that coming up. On this day, we visited a mosque, and I'm actually going to do kind of like a review of my experience in Malaysia with the Muslims and with Islam in general, and my actual thoughts on the subject, which I don't really just spew out and about, but it's gonna happen in this video coming up because I put on the full hijab and the gear and everything like that in this mosque, and I thought, what a great opportunity to tell you about how I actually feel about that. Comment down below if you know of any cities that are kind of like Malacca. Maybe they are UNESCO heritage sites, or they have colonial architecture like that. I'm sure there's like a gazillion in the world. Well, I don't know, gazillion, but I'm sure there's quite a few in the world, and I haven't really came across any like that. I don't think. Maybe in South America one place, but not for sure. Comment down below if you can think of any fun places that maybe I should go. Thank you for coming along today. Please subscribe if you like. Let's go out and make the world 1% better today, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys!